By now you're starting to feel comfortable designing your own queries, either using the wizard or from scratch like we did in the previous lesson. Now we're going to look at going into an already existing query design and make some changes. So you can see up here at the top on the title bar that I'm using Music Library 6B from the exercise file. So to get all caught up with me, go ahead and open that one up. And down below you'll see that I have double clicked on 80s music in the performers table. This is a query we created in the previous lesson. You can double click it in the songs table or the performers table to display the results. So now we decided we're going to make a change to this. It might be nice to sort all of our song titles perhaps, and maybe add in a field and maybe some additional criteria, maybe even change up the order. So how do we do all that stuff? Well, we definitely want to go into the design view of the selected query. So with 80s music selected, we go up to the design view button. So there we have down below the fields that are being used in our query. There's the one that's not showing, that's got the criteria. So that 80s is the actual criteria used for the decade in the songs table. If we wanted to add a new field, that's pretty simple. We just find the field in one of the two tables and add it by double clicking or dragging it down. But what if we want to reorder things? So just an example, the year that it came out. I'm going to double click year launched, and you can see it automatically gets added to the end here. But maybe it belongs before the actual first and last name. So if I wanted to, you can see by clicking just above year launch, I get that arrow pointing down. I can select the entire column. With it selected, I can click and drag it until I see a line in between song title and first name and release. So there we have a reordered look at our query. Now we're going to add some criteria and some sorting options as well. I'd like everything sorted by the year that it came out. So in the sort row over here, I'm going to slide over to year launched and click in the blank field, which displays this drop down for me. When I click that, I can say, okay, ascending or descending. I'm going to choose ascending. And now if I was to run the results here, I'd have the new field and the new sort option in there as well. But what if I want to change this query to include 70s music as well? Of course, I'm going to have to rename the query to 70s and 80s music, not just 80s music. But let's go down here, and you'll notice that under 80s, I've got an OR field. And I'm going to click in there. And I could use the expression builder if I wanted to add in some new criteria where decade could also equal the 70s, or I can just type it in the way I see it up here, and that is in double quotes to type in 70s, just like that. All right, I'm going to click outside. Looks good. I should be able to run this query now to see the results. And that's what I'm going to do. Clicking the run button shows me the results. You can see the year that these songs came out, and that's the order that they're sorted. So from the oldest to the newest. And then you can see that I've also got all of the other fields that were selected. The one that's not showing is the decade, because we chose not to show that, but it is being used for the criteria. So I'm getting 70s and 80s music now. Of course, the name of this query is 80s music, so it really doesn't make sense. I either have to rename this query to something else by using save as, or if I wanted to, I could go back and take the 70s part out. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to design view. And I no longer want the 70s criteria. It doesn't make sense for this query. I simply highlight it by clicking and dragging and hitting delete on the keyboard. Right? When I run it, the new results are only 80 songs, but still sorted by the year. And now I'm ready to save my changes. Coming up to the save button and clicking save is going to save all those design changes I made. So this query is now up to date. Keep in mind again now, as we start adding more albums, more songs, more performers, any of the ones that are 80s that get added to our various tables will show up in this query every time we run it. So the results should grow over time. Now later on we're going to be talking about forms, and forms are the best way to input data, to be able to input data into more than one table at one time, and to force people to input certain kinds of data and so on by giving them options. But we'll talk all about that when we get to forms. For now, let's just check out the results of our query, be happy with that, make sure we save our changes before moving on.